We tell young people, when you dress, act, and talk in a way I like being around you, we'll call that mature. And I'll even brag about you to my friends. But should you dress, act, or talk in a way I feel uncomfortable being around you and not real good with that, you need to grow up and be more mature. Now, what does that say? It is more important in church to be like me than it is like Jesus. Isn't that what it says? We'll be more comfortable with you if you will make us feel comfortable by being like us. There's not one thing in this word that I can find that says we are to train up the next generation into us likeness. It is Christ what the rites of passage looks like. And on the night, we'll come back then on Sunday evening, and here's what's going to take place. Picture this in your sanctuary, okay? Very briefly, here's what will happen. All the young people on that night will go out with Pastor Chase and other leaders back there, and he's got some things he'll talk to them about. Get them prepared to come in, we'll put a name tag on and so forth, and we'll work the details later with you on that. But here's what this will look like. You will have a person, for example, at that door, similar door right there with a handheld microphone. There'll be a microphone on the platform up here. Pastor Tim will be up here. You'll have an under shepherd right here, and the church will be lined up down the aisle of the church. Okay? Your daughter is 13. What's her name?
Beth.
Bethany. What's your last name? Lanton. And here's what will happen. I'll use her as an example for you, okay? On that night, one by one, the young people will be brought to the door of the sanctuary to come back in. They will be standing in the threshold of the door, neither in nor out. There's something very spiritual about one, the threshold, but two, they're not in or out of the sanctuary, okay? And in that, the announcer will announce to the congregation and say, Westside Baptist, I present to you Bethany Lanton. When that happens, the church will explode and begin to cheer for her. Standing there at the door, you two will walk up to the microphone on the platform where you can look out at Bethany. And you'll say, Bethany, this is your father and your mother speaking. It is time for you to come out of the darkness and into the light. It's time for you to leave your childish ways behind, honey, and come into your godly womanhood. The entire church will hear you, Dad and Mom, speaking to your daughter as a young lady and calling her into womanhood as a church family. With that, Bethany will be released at the door. She will start down the aisle of the church, and as she comes down the aisle, the adult community of believers, that's why it's so important we get this. This isn't a youth event where just the parents show up. We need all of you. We need the church family. And look, when I say we, I just get vested with this in the sense this becomes my church that night. I want God's very best for you in this. And you do that by making this a community celebration. And you're going to be the ambassadors to carry that message. As she walks down the aisle, the adult community of this church will bless her, hug her, and speak life into her. You, seeing her come down, will wait right here for her, okay, for her to the front. She'll come to an under shepherd, and he'll say, Bethany, do you understand godly womanhood? That God has transformed you into a young lady. Are you willing to walk in it in the church? She'll know these well in advance, not a surprise. She'll say yes. You'll say, go and present yourself and submit to your parents by kneeling down before them to receive their blessing. And that young lady will walk over and look you in the eye on the dad, and she'll kneel down before you to receive your blessing as a young lady. Tell people all the time, I don't care what denomination, how you feel about all this other stuff. Boy, you'll see when young people kneel down, you see spirits of rebellion being broken, just like that. And periodically, you'll see some coming off the kids. It's hereditary, okay? So, my point is, and on the first night, you'll get a sheet and information on how to prepare a blessing for her. Mom and Dad, you'll pray a blessing over her. Now, it's not a spotlight dance. You don't have to worry about anybody else hearing you, because this process will continue on. And after you pray over Bethany, when you're done, you'll tell her to stay kneeling down. You'll step away. And then, under shepherds of the church, other pastors, wives, ministry leaders designated by the pastor and the leadership staff will come, and they'll lay hands and pray a blessing over her. And then, taking her by the arm, they'll say, Bethany, as your ministry team, we tell you now to arise and join the women of this church, because on this night, you are one of them. And they'll literally raise her to her feet. You're not done. You still got to feed her, Dad. She's a young lady, but she's 13. Now the fun begins, okay? They're going to present back to you, your daughter, no longer a child, but as a godly young lady. You're going to walk with her to a table where there'll be a covenant of womanhood. She's going to sign it, you'll get to witness it. Then you'll get back in line. And her first act of responsibility as a recognized young lady of the church will be to go up on the platform and submit herself to her senior pastor.